Welcome, weary soul. If you're here tonight, your mind is probably racing with the day's worries, tomorrow's uncertainties, or simply the restless energy that won't let you find peace. You've come to the right place. Tonight, we're going to let the ancient wisdom of Proverbs wrap around you like a soft blanket, bringing the calm your heart desperately needs. In the next 2 hours, you'll discover how Solomon's gentle teachings can quiet your anxious thoughts and settle your restless spirit. These aren't just old words on a page. They're living truths that speak directly to your need for peace tonight. You'll feel God's presence surrounding you, His wisdom guiding you into the rest you've been longing for. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and slowly release. Let your shoulders drop. Allow your body to sink into whatever surface is supporting you right now. Your only job tonight is to receive, to let these timeless words of wisdom wash over you and carry you into peaceful sleep. Heavenly Father, we invite your presence into this sacred time of rest. Remind this precious soul of their worth, their belovedness, and your faithful care. Amen. Maybe tonight you're feeling lost, like you're navigating through life without a compass, uncertain of which direction to turn. The decisions ahead of you feel overwhelming, and you're not sure if you can trust your own judgment anymore. Listen to the wisdom Solomon offers when we feel this way. Proverbs 3 verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Trust. Do you know what that word means for you tonight? It means you don't have to figure everything out on your own. You don't have to carry the weight of every decision, every uncertainty, every what if that's been circling through your mind. There is someone wiser than you, someone who sees the whole picture when you can only see fragments. And He's inviting you to lean into Him, not partially, but completely. Your understanding is limited. That's not a failure on your part. It's simply the reality of being human. But His understanding has no limits. While you see today's problems, He sees tomorrow's solutions. While you wrestle with one piece of the puzzle, He holds the completed picture. You can rest in that tonight. You can let go of the pressure to have it all figured out. Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed by the chaos around you. At work, at home, in your relationships. Everything feels like it's spinning out of control, and you're exhausted from trying to manage it all. Solomon understood this feeling too. Proverbs 19 verse 21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Your heart is full of plans, isn't it? Plans to fix things, to control outcomes, to prevent disaster. You've been working so hard, planning so carefully, trying to orchestrate your life into something manageable. But tonight, this ancient wisdom reminds you of something beautiful. There's a deeper purpose at work, a divine plan that's unfolding even when everything feels chaotic. This doesn't mean your plans don't matter. It means there's someone greater who's weaving even your broken plans, your failed attempts, your redirected paths into something meaningful. The chaos you see isn't the final word. There's purpose in the midst of it. Purpose you may not understand yet, but purpose nonetheless. You can breathe easier knowing that you're not the one holding the universe together. That responsibility belongs to someone infinitely more capable than you. Maybe tonight fear has its grip on you. Fear of the future, fear of failure, fear of what others think about you. Your chest feels tight, and that familiar anxiety is making it hard to find peace. Here's what Solomon learned about fear. Proverbs 29 verse 25. Will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. That fear you're feeling, it's become a trap, hasn't it? It's keeping you awake, keeping you worried, keeping you from the peace God wants you to have. Fear whispers lies about your inadequacy, your failures, your need to please everyone around you. But tonight, Wisdom speaks louder than fear. You are kept safe, not by your performance, not by having everything perfect, not by making sure everyone approves of you. You are kept safe by the one who sees you completely and loves you unconditionally. The opinions that have been haunting you, the approval you've been chasing, the standards you've been trying to meet, none of these determine your safety or your worth. In His love, you can stop performing. You can stop striving. You can stop listening to the voice that says you're not enough, because wisdom declares that you are already kept safe in Him. Your heart might be heavy tonight with the weight of broken relationships, unmet expectations, or dreams that didn't unfold the way you hoped. The disappointment feels almost too much to bear. But listen to this gentle truth. Proverbs 17 verse 22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Your spirit feels crushed tonight, doesn't it? Like something inside you has been pressed down under the weight of disappointment and pain. Solomon acknowledges this. He doesn't minimize your hurt or tell you to just cheer up. Instead, he reveals something profound about how God designed you. Joy isn't just an emotion, it's medicine for your soul. And sometimes the pathway to that healing joy begins with acknowledging just how crushed you've been feeling. God sees your broken heart. He understands why laughter feels impossible right now, why hope seems distant. But here, in this quiet moment, away from all the voices and pressures and disappointments, something can begin to shift. Not because you're forcing it, but because there's a gentle wisdom that wants to minister to your crushed spirit. Tonight, as these ancient words wash over you, let them begin that healing work. Let them remind you that your current pain isn't your permanent condition. Maybe you've been struggling with feelings of inadequacy, wondering if you'll ever be wise enough, strong enough, good enough for the life you're living. The mistakes you've made feel so heavy, and you question whether you have what it takes. Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, offers this comfort. Proverbs 27 verse 5 through 6. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. True wisdom, genuine strength, authentic goodness, these don't come from pretending you have it all together. They come from being honest about where you're struggling, from allowing trusted voices to speak truth into your life, from embracing the growth that comes through genuine relationship. The enemy of your soul wants you to believe that your struggles disqualify you, that your questions make you weak, that your need for help makes you inadequate. But wisdom says the opposite. The wounds of honest self-examination, the discomfort of admitting you don't have all the answers, these are actually signs that you're growing, that you're becoming the person God created you to be. Tonight, you don't have to pretend. You don't have to have it all figured out. Your humanity, your need, your vulnerability, these aren't flaws to hide, but invitations to receive the wisdom and strength that can only come from outside yourself. Perhaps you're feeling alone tonight, like no one truly understands what you're going through. The isolation feels heavy, and you wonder if anyone really sees you or cares about your struggles. Here's what Solomon discovered about true companionship. Proverbs 18 verse 24. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You may feel abandoned by human friends tonight, but you are not friendless. There is one who sticks closer than any earthly relationship, closer than family, closer than your most trusted confidant. He's the friend who never grows tired of your problems, never gets impatient with your questions, never withdraws his love when you're struggling. This friend sees through your pretenses straight to your heart and loves what he finds there. He's the one who was thinking of you before you were born, who has been preparing good things for your life even when you couldn't see them coming. He's here with you right now, in this quiet moment, offering his presence as a gift. You're not as alone as you feel. Even in your deepest loneliness, you're being held by love that will never let you go. Rest in that truth tonight. Let it sink into the places in your heart that have been aching with loneliness. You are seen. You are known. You are loved beyond measure. Maybe tonight you're feeling overwhelmed by decisions you need to make. Big choices loom ahead of you, and the weight of potential consequences feels crushing. You're second-guessing yourself, afraid of making the wrong choice. Here's what Solomon learned about decision-making. Proverbs 27 verse 14. If anyone loudly blesses their neighbor early in the morning, it will be taken as a curse. Even well-meaning actions can have unintended consequences when the timing is wrong. This wise observation reminds you that perfect decisions aren't always about having perfect information. They're about wisdom, discernment, and understanding the broader context of your choices. The pressure you feel to make the perfect decision, to choose the path with no negative consequences, to see all the ramifications before you act. This pressure isn't helping you choose wisely. Sometimes wisdom means accepting that no choice is perfect, that every path has both blessings and challenges. You don't have to see the entire future to make a wise choice today. You don't have to guarantee perfect outcomes to move forward with integrity. Sometimes the wise choice is simply the next faithful step, even when you cannot see where the path ultimately leads. Perhaps you're battling shame tonight about something you've done or failed to do. The guilt feels overwhelming, and you're not sure how to find peace when you're carrying such heavy regret. Listen to this truth about shame and restoration. Proverbs 16 verse 6. Through love and faithfulness, sin is atoned for. Through the fear of the Lord, evil is avoided. Love and faithfulness, these are the paths to freedom from shame. Not perfect behavior, not flawless performance, not earning your way back into worthiness. Love, both receiving it and giving it. Faithfulness, both God's faithfulness to you and your faithfulness to keep growing. The shame you're carrying tonight doesn't have to define you. It can be atoned for through love, the love that sees your failure and chooses you anyway, the love that counts your faithfulness more valuable than your perfection. Your worth isn't diminished by your mistakes because your worth was never based on your performance in the first place. The fear of the Lord isn't terror. It's the healthy recognition that wisdom comes from someone greater than yourself. When you align yourself with His heart, evil is avoided not through rigid rule following, but through the natural overflow of a heart that's been touched by love. Tonight, you can receive that love. You can rest in that faithfulness. You can let shame be replaced by the peace that comes from being fully known and fully loved. You might be struggling tonight with feelings of insignificance, like your problems are too small to matter, or your life is too ordinary to be important. The weight of feeling invisible, overlooked, forgotten is pressing down on your spirit. But wisdom speaks to this feeling too. Proverbs 15 verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. His eyes are everywhere, including on you, right here, right now. Your ordinary life, your small struggles, your quiet victories that no one else notices, these are all under His watchful gaze. You're not invisible to Him. You're not overlooked. You're not forgotten. The problems that feel too small to mention to others are significant enough to capture His attention. The dreams that feel too ordinary to matter are precious enough to be watched over by the Creator of the universe. Your daily faithfulness in small things, your private battles that no one else sees, your quiet acts of love, all of this matters infinitely to Him. You don't have to be extraordinary to be seen. You don't have to have dramatic problems to deserve attention. You don't have to accomplish great things to be valuable. Your simple existence, your honest, struggling, your faithful presence in the lives around you. This is enough to matter completely. Maybe you're feeling like God is disappointed in you, like you've let him down too many times, like his love for you has conditions you haven't met. The fear of divine disappointment is making it hard to rest in his presence. Here's what Solomon understood about God's heart. Proverbs 3 verse 11 through 12. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he delights in the one he corrects. He delights in you, not just when you get things right, but when you need correction. Not just when you're succeeding, but when you're growing. The discipline you've experienced, the correction you've received, these aren't evidence of his disappointment, but evidence of his delight. A father only invests in discipline for children he believes in, children he knows can grow, children he sees potential in. The fact that you've experienced his correction means you matter enough to him to receive his investment. You're not a lost cause to be abandoned, but a beloved child to be developed. His love isn't conditional on your performance. His delight isn't dependent on your perfection. His investment in your growth is evidence of his unshakable belief in who you're becoming. Tonight, you can rest in being delighted in, even in your imperfection. You can find peace in being loved enough to be corrected, believed in enough to be challenged, valued enough to be invested in. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by the brokenness in the world around you. The news is filled with tragedy. Relationships around you are falling apart. Systems you trusted are failing, and you're struggling to maintain hope in the midst of so much dysfunction. Solomon observed this same pattern of brokenness. Proverbs 16 verse 2. All a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. Everyone believes their own actions are justified. The person who hurt you genuinely believes they were right. The systems that are failing were built by people who thought they were creating something good. The brokenness you see isn't usually the result of people intentionally choosing evil. It's often the result of people choosing what seemed right to them, but was weighed differently by the Lord. This understanding doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it can free you from the burden of trying to make sense of senseless actions. People operate from limited perspectives, broken frameworks, wounded places. Their ways seem pure to them, even when the results are destructive. But there's someone who sees the true weight of every motive, every choice, every action. The justice you long for is being administered by someone who understands the full context of every situation. The accountability you wish people would have is being provided by someone who sees what you cannot see. Tonight, you can rest in the truth that the brokenness around you isn't the final word. There's a larger justice at work, a deeper understanding being applied, a more complete healing being prepared than you can accomplish through your own efforts to fix what's wrong. Perhaps you're struggling tonight with feeling spiritually dry, like your connection with God has grown cold and distant. Prayer feels mechanical, scripture feels lifeless, and you wonder if you've lost something precious that you once had. But listen to this truth about spiritual seasons. Proverbs 24 verse 10. If you falter in a time of trouble, your strength is small. Sometimes what feels like spiritual dryness is actually spiritual strengthening. The times when faith feels difficult, when God feels distant, when spiritual disciplines feel lifeless, these can be the times when your spiritual muscles are being developed. Easy faith doesn't build strength. Challenging faith does. Your strength isn't measured by how easy it feels to believe, but by your willingness to keep believing when it's hard. The fact that you're troubled by the distance you feel means your heart is still oriented toward Him. The fact that you long for deeper connection means the connection hasn't been severed, just strained. Dry seasons in spiritual life are like winter seasons in nature, necessary times of dormancy that prepare for new growth. The roots of your faith may be growing deeper during this time of surface barrenness. The foundation of your relationship with God maybe being strengthened even while the emotional experience feels weak. Tonight, you don't have to manufacture spiritual feelings you don't have. You can rest in the truth that your worth to God isn't determined by the intensity of your spiritual experiences, but by His unchanging love for you. You might be feeling like time is running out for your dreams, your goals, your hopes for your life. Younger people seem to be achieving things faster. Opportunities feel like they're passing you by, and you wonder if you've missed your window for the life you wanted. Solomon had wisdom about timing too. Proverbs 16 verse 9. In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Your steps are being established in His timing, not in comparison to anyone else's journey. The course you've planned in your heart matters to Him, but He's orchestrating the timing of each step according to His perfect knowledge of what you need and when you need it. What looks like delay to you might be preparation. What feels like missed opportunity might be protection from something that would have harmed you. What seems like being behind schedule might be being perfectly on time for purposes you cannot yet see. The dreams in your heart aren't diminished by the passage of time, they're being refined by it. The goals that feel delayed aren't becoming impossible, they're becoming more aligned with who you're becoming through the waiting. The hopes you're afraid you've outgrown might be evolving into something better than what you originally imagined. Tonight, you can release the pressure of timeline comparisons and rest in the truth that your story is unfolding exactly as it should, in perfect coordination with the one who sees the end from the beginning. Your mind is spinning tonight, isn't it? Racing from one worry to the next, replaying conversations, rehearsing tomorrow's challenges. The thoughts come faster than you can process them, and sleep feels impossible when your brain won't slow down. Solomon understood this kind of mental turmoil. Proverbs 16 verse 9. In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Your heart is planning right now, planning how to solve tomorrow's problems, planning what you'll say in that difficult conversation, planning how to avoid potential disasters. The mental energy you're expending on all this planning is exhausting you, yet you can't seem to stop. But here's what wisdom gently reminds you. While your heart is busy planning, there's someone else establishing your actual steps. He's not anxious about tomorrow's challenges. He's not worried about whether you'll have the right words or make the right decisions. He's already gone before you, preparing your path. This doesn't mean your thoughtfulness doesn't matter. It means you can release the burden of trying to control every outcome. Your job is to take the next step He establishes, not to figure out the entire journey from your bed tonight. You can let your racing mind slow down because someone wiser is managing what you cannot. The weight of perfectionism is crushing you tonight. Every mistake feels magnified. Every imperfection feels like failure. You've been trying so hard to get everything right, and the pressure is overwhelming your soul. Listen to this freeing truth. Proverbs 24 verse 16. For, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. 7 times. Not once, 7 times. This wise king is telling you that falling is part of the journey, not evidence that you're failing at life. The righteous aren't those who never fall, they're those who keep rising again. Your perfectionism has been lying to you, whispering that one mistake undoes all your progress, that a single failure defines your worth. But wisdom sees it differently. Wisdom counts your ability to get back up, not your ability to never fall down. Every time you've faced a setback and found the courage to try again, you've demonstrated righteousness. Every time you've made a mistake and learned from it, you've walked in wisdom. Tonight, you can release the crushing weight of having to be perfect. Your worth isn't measured by your flawlessness, but by your willingness to keep growing, keep learning, keep rising again when life knocks you down. Anger is burning inside you tonight. Anger at circumstances beyond your control. Anger at people who've hurt you. maybe even anger at yourself for not handling things better. The rage feels consuming, and you're not sure how to find peace when fury is coursing through your veins. Solomon knew about this fire. Proverbs 15 verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. That fire inside you, it's real, and it's valid. Something has stirred up this anger, and pretending it doesn't exist won't make it disappear, but holding on to it is burning you from the inside out. The harsh words you want to speak, the harsh thoughts you're rehearsing, they're only adding fuel to a fire that's already consuming your peace. Wisdom offers a different way, the way of gentleness, not gentleness toward those who've wronged you, necessarily, but gentleness toward yourself, gentle words to your own heart that's been so stirred up. Gentle acknowledgement of your pain without letting it harden into something bitter. Tonight, you can speak gently to your own angry heart. You can acknowledge the hurt without letting it dictate your rest. The wrath you feel doesn't have to define this moment. You can choose the gentle path that leads toward peace. Jealousy is eating at you tonight. Someone else has what you want, the success, the relationship, the opportunities that seem to pass you by. The comparison is making your heart sick, and you can't seem to stop measuring your life against theirs. Here's what Solomon observed about this poison. Proverbs 14 verse 30. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Envy is rotting you from the inside out. You can feel it, can't you? The way it steals your joy, the way it makes your own blessings feel small, the way it convinces you that you're missing out on the life you deserve. It's like poison in your system, and it's making everything feel wrong. But wisdom offers the antidote, a heart at peace. Not a heart that has everything it wants, but a heart that finds peace with what it has. Peace that comes from knowing your worth isn't determined by comparison. Peace that comes from trusting that your story is unfolding exactly as it should. Someone else's success doesn't diminish yours. Someone else's blessing doesn't mean you've been forgotten. Someone else's opportunity doesn't mean yours won't come. Tonight, you can choose peace over comparison, contentment over envy, trust over jealousy. You're drowning in guilt tonight. Maybe you said something you shouldn't have, did something you regret, or failed to do something important. The shame feels overwhelming, and you're not sure how to move forward when the weight of your mistakes feels so heavy. Solomon offers hope for the guilty heart. Proverbs 28 verse 13. Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Your guilt has been hiding in the shadows, hasn't it? Growing larger and more overwhelming in the darkness of secrecy. The shame has been whispering that if anyone knew the real you, the things you've done or left undone, they would reject you completely. But wisdom shows a different path, the path of confession and mercy. Not confession to earn forgiveness, but confession that opens the door to receive the mercy that's already waiting for you. The mistakes you've made don't have to define you. The guilt that's been crushing you doesn't have to be your permanent condition. There's mercy available tonight. Mercy for your failures, mercy for your shortcomings, mercy for all the ways you've fallen short of who you want to be. You can stop concealing your sins in the darkness and step into the light of forgiveness. Fear about your future is keeping you awake tonight. You can't see how things will work out, can't imagine how your current struggles will ever resolve, can't picture a path forward that doesn't lead to more pain and difficulty. Solomon faced uncertainty too. Proverbs 27 verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Your anxiety about the future is based on the assumption that you need to know what's coming in order to be okay. But wisdom suggests something different. that not knowing what tomorrow brings isn't actually a problem to be solved, but simply a reality to be accepted. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, and that's exactly as it should be. If you could see all the challenges ahead, you'd be overwhelmed. If you could see all the blessings coming, you might not appreciate today. The mystery of tomorrow isn't meant to torment you, but to teach you to live fully in today. Tonight, you can release your need to know how everything will work out. You can rest in the truth that someone who loves you does know what tomorrow brings, and he's prepared for it in ways you cannot imagine. Your job isn't to figure out the future, but to trust the one who holds it. You're exhausted from trying to control everything and everyone around you. The people in your life aren't responding the way you think they should. Circumstances aren't unfolding according to your plans, and you're wearing yourself out trying to orchestrate outcomes you cannot actually control. Listen to this wise perspective. Proverbs 19 verse 21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Your plans are good. Your desire for things to work out is natural and right. But wisdom reminds you that there's a purpose larger than your plans, a design more intricate than your ability to control. The energy you're spending trying to manage everyone and everything is energy that could be spent on the things that are actually within your influence. Tonight, you can begin to release what was never yours to control anyway. Other people's choices, unexpected circumstances, the timing of outcomes, these were never meant to be your responsibility. Your job is to be faithful in what is yours to do, and trust the larger purpose to unfold as it will. The relief of letting go of control can be the beginning of the peace you've been seeking. You're battling confusion tonight, aren't you? Nothing makes sense anymore. Relationships that used to be clear have become complicated. Paths that seemed obvious have become uncertain. Beliefs you held confidently are now being questioned. The confusion feels disorienting and frightening. Solomon faced this same bewilderment. Proverbs 14 verse 12. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Sometimes what feels like confusion is actually clarity trying to break through. The way that appeared right, the path that seemed so clear, the choices that looked obviously correct, maybe these need to be questioned. Maybe the confusion you're experiencing isn't a problem but a gift, forcing you to look deeper, seek wisdom, consider possibilities you hadn't seen before. The disorientation you feel when certainties become uncertain can be terrifying, but it can also be liberating. When the way that appears right is exposed as potentially harmful, you're freed to discover ways that truly lead to life. The confusion isn't your enemy. It's breaking you free from paths that only seemed right. Tonight, you can rest in the midst of uncertainty. You don't have to have it all figured out to find peace. Sometimes the most honest thing you can say is, "I don't know." And that honesty can be the beginning of wisdom. Bitterness has been growing in your heart, hasn't it? Someone hurt you deeply, and the anger has hardened into something cold and poisonous. You know the bitterness isn't helping, but you're not sure how to let go of the rage that feels so justified. Listen to wisdom about this poison. Proverbs 14 verse 10. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. Your heart knows its own bitterness, the depth of your pain, the extent of your hurt, the justifiable anger you carry. This isolation can make the bitterness feel even more overwhelming. But this same verse also hints at something hopeful. Hearts that know their own bitterness also have the capacity to know their own joy. The bitterness you're carrying is real and valid, but it's not your permanent condition. The heart that has learned to feel deeply can learn to heal deeply. The same capacity for pain that makes bitterness possible also makes profound joy possible. Tonight, you don't have to let go of all your anger at once. You don't have to forgive everything immediately, but you can begin to create space for something other than bitterness to grow. You can begin to imagine your heart knowing joy as intimately as it currently knows pain. Disappointment is crushing you tonight. Things didn't work out the way you hoped. Dreams have been shattered, promises have been broken, and the gap between expectation and reality feels unbearably wide. Solomon knew about disappointed hopes. Proverbs 13 verse 12. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Your heart is sick with deferred hope. The dreams that didn't come true when you expected them to, the prayers that seem unanswered, the changes you hoped for that haven't materialized. These have made your heart sick with disappointment. This isn't weakness on your part. This is the natural response of a heart that dared to hope. But notice that this proverb doesn't say hope destroyed. It says hope deferred. Deferred means delayed, not cancelled, postponed, not prohibited. The tree of life that comes from fulfilled longing may still be growing, even in ground that currently looks barren. Your disappointed hopes don't have to become hopelessness. The dreams that haven't come true yet don't have to be labeled impossible. Sometimes the heart needs to be sick for a while before it can be healed with something even better than what it originally hoped for. You're struggling with self-doubt tonight, questioning every decision you've made, second-guessing your judgment, wondering if you can trust yourself to navigate life's complexities. The inner critic is loud, and confidence feels like a foreign concept. Here's what wisdom says about self-doubt. Proverbs 27, verse 5 through 6. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. The wounds from a friend can be trusted, even when that friend is your own honest self-assessment. The doubts you're experiencing might not be self-sabotage, but healthy self-examination. Sometimes what feels like destructive criticism is actually constructive correction. But there's a difference between the wounds of a friend and the attacks of an enemy. An enemy multiplies, kisses, tells you what you want to hear, flatters your ego, enables your blind spots. A friend wounds you with truth that helps you grow. Learn to distinguish between the voice of honest self-reflection that wants to help you improve and the voice of destructive self-criticism that wants to tear you down. One leads to wisdom, the other leads to paralysis. Tonight, you can trust the parts of your self-doubt that are pushing you toward growth while rejecting the parts that are simply trying to diminish you. You can embrace healthy self-examination while resisting unhealthy self-condemnation. Insecurity is plaguing you tonight, making you question your worth, your abilities, your right to take up space in the world. The inner voice keeps telling you that everyone else has something you lack, that you're fundamentally flawed in ways others are not. But Solomon understood the root of true security. Proverbs 14 verse 26. Whoever fears the Lord has a secure fortress, and for their children it will be a refuge. True security doesn't come from having all your insecurities resolved, but from finding your foundation in something unshakable. When your security is rooted in the fear of the Lord, that healthy reverence and trust in His character, you have a fortress that cannot be breached by criticism, rejection, or failure. Your insecurities are real, and they're painful, but they don't have to determine your sense of safety in the world. You can be insecure about many things and still be fundamentally secure in what matters most: your belovedness, your purpose, your place in His heart. The fortress isn't built on your strengths, but on His faithfulness. The refuge isn't constructed from your accomplishments, but from His love. Tonight, you can rest in security that has nothing to do with resolving all your insecurities and everything to do with knowing where your true foundation lies. Resentment is eating at you, isn't it? You've been treated unfairly, overlooked, undervalued, and the anger about injustice is consuming your peace. You replay the wrongs done to you, rehearse the confrontations you wish you'd had, and burn with indignation about how things should have been different. Solomon had insights about this poison too. Proverbs 19 verse 11. A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. Overlooking an offense doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen or that it doesn't matter. It means choosing not to let the offense define your peace, your joy, or your sense of justice in the world. It means recognizing that your glory, your true honor and dignity, comes not from getting revenge, but from rising above the need for revenge. Wisdom yields patience, the kind of patience that can wait for justice to unfold in ways and timing beyond your control. The kind of patience that can hold space for your legitimate anger while not letting that anger consume your capacity for peace. The resentment you're carrying is understandable and justified, but it's hurting you more than it's hurting the people who wronged you. Tonight, you can begin the slow work of releasing the poison, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom from the toxicity of unresolved resentment. There's too much to do, too many demands, too many people needing things from you. You feel like you're drowning in responsibilities and obligations, and you can't see a way to get your head above water. Listen to this perspective on overwhelm. Proverbs 30 verse 8 through 9. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you, and say, Who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of my God. Daily bread. Just enough for today. The overwhelm you're feeling often comes from trying to handle tomorrow's challenges with today's energy, trying to solve next week's problems with this week's resources, trying to carry more than you were designed to carry in a single moment. The wisdom of daily bread suggests that you're meant to receive what you need for each day, not stockpile resources for every possible future scenario. The energy you're expending on things that aren't today's actual responsibilities is energy that could be applied to what's actually in front of you right now. Tonight, you can release tomorrow's burdens back to tomorrow. You can stop trying to solve problems that haven't actually materialized yet. You can rest in the truth that today's strength is sufficient for today's tasks, and tomorrow will bring its own provision. You're wondering if things will ever get better, aren't you? If this season of struggle will ever end, if the pain you're feeling will ever ease. The future feels uncertain, maybe even frightening, and you're not sure you have the strength to keep going. Listen to this promise that's written specifically for you. Proverbs 3 verse 25 through 26. Have no fear of sudden disaster or of the ruin that overtakes the wicked, for the Lord will be at your side and will keep your foot from being snared. Have no fear. That's not just good advice. That's a promise. You don't have to live in constant anxiety about what might go wrong. The sudden disasters you're imagining, the worst-case scenarios that play in your mind. You don't have to fear them because you're not facing them alone. The Lord will be at your side, not just nearby, not just watching from a distance, but right there beside you. When sudden difficulty comes, He'll be there. When unexpected challenges arise, He'll be there. When you feel like you're walking through a minefield of potential problems, He'll be there keeping your foot from being snared. This means for you tonight, for your actual life, for your real struggles, that you can stop rehearsing disaster scenarios. You can stop trying to prepare for every possible catastrophe. You're not walking through life unprotected. You have a companion who sees every trap before you step into it, who guides your feet away from danger you cannot even see. You're feeling like your resources are running out, emotionally, financially, physically. You're not sure how you'll make it through another day of demands when you're already running on empty. But here's what wisdom promises. Proverbs 11, verse 25. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. This seems backwards, doesn't it? When you're depleted, wisdom says to give. When you're empty, wisdom says to pour out. But there's a spiritual law at work here that defies natural logic. When you become a source of refreshment for others, somehow you yourself are refreshed. This doesn't mean you should ignore your own needs or pour from an empty cup until you collapse. It means that even in your depletion, there's something you can offer, a kind word, a listening ear, a small act of generosity. And in that giving, something supernatural happens. You discover resources you didn't know you had. For you tonight, this means you're not as empty as you feel. There's still something in you that can bless others. And in blessing them, you'll find yourself blessed. The refreshment you're desperately seeking doesn't only come from receiving, sometimes it comes from giving what little you have left. You're questioning your own value tonight, wondering if you really matter, if your life makes any difference at all. The voices of criticism, both external and internal, have been loud, and they're drowning out any sense of your worth. Listen to what God says about your value. Proverbs 12, verse 26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. You matter so much that who you choose as friends actually matters to God. Your relationships, your influence, your circle of connection. These things are significant in the grand scheme of things. You're not some insignificant person stumbling through life without impact. You're someone whose choices about relationships affect not just your own life, but the lives of others. The righteous choose carefully because they understand that their lives matter, that their influence matters, that who they become matters. You are righteous, not because you're perfect, but because you belong to the one who makes you right. And because you matter to him, your choices matter too. Tonight, you can rest in the truth that your life has weight and significance. The careful choices you make about who to trust, who to invest in, who to walk alongside, these matter to God because you matter to God. You feel like you're falling behind everyone else, like you should be further along in life than you are. The comparison game is making you feel like a failure, and you wonder if you'll ever catch up to where you think you should be. Here's God's perspective on your journey. Proverbs 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. He will establish your plans, not his plans for you, but your plans that you've committed to him. This means God isn't just working around your dreams and desires. He's actually working through them. The longings in your heart, the goals you're pursuing, the dreams that feel delayed. When you commit these to him, he takes them and establishes them in his perfect timing. You're not behind schedule because there is no universal schedule for human lives. Your journey is uniquely yours, and the timing of your breakthrough doesn't have to match anyone else's timeline. The plans taking shape in your heart right now, the ones you're afraid to hope for, these can be committed to the one who specializes in establishing what seems impossible. For your life tonight, this means you can stop measuring your progress against others and start trusting the process that's unique to you. Your plans matter to God, and he's more committed to seeing them fulfilled than you are. You're afraid you've made too many mistakes, burned too many bridges, missed too many opportunities. The regret feels overwhelming, and you wonder if it's too late to salvage anything meaningful from the mess you feel you've made. But listen to this promise of restoration. Proverbs 24, verse 16. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. 7 times, not once, not twice, but 7 times, which in biblical language means complete, total failure. And still, the righteous rise again. Your past failures don't disqualify you from future success. Your mistakes don't define your destiny. Your fallen moments don't determine your final story. The difference between the righteous and the wicked isn't that the righteous never fall. It's that they rise again. Every time you've gotten back up after disappointment, every time you've tried again after failure, every time you've chosen hope over despair, you've been living out this promise. Tonight, this means that no matter how many times you feel you've fallen, no matter how complete the failure feels, you have the power to rise again. Not because you're strong enough on your own, but because righteousness in you has the power to resurrect what looked dead. You're worried that you don't have what it takes for the challenges ahead. The obstacles look so large, the opposition so strong, and you feel so small and inadequate in comparison. Here's what God promises about your strength. Proverbs 18 verse 10. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. You're not meant to face life's battles with only your own strength. When the challenges are too big, when the opposition is too strong, when you feel outmatched and overwhelmed, you have a fortified tower to run to. The name of the Lord isn't just a title, it's a place of safety, a refuge that cannot be breached. This means for your actual struggles, the overwhelming responsibility, the frightening diagnosis, the impossible situation, the relationship that's falling apart. You don't have to stand in the open field and fight with your own weapons. You can run to the tower. You can take refuge in the one whose strength never fails. Tonight, you can stop trying to be strong enough on your own. You can run to the tower that's always available, always secure, always sufficient for whatever you're facing. You're feeling forgotten by God, like your prayers aren't being heard, like He's moved on to more important people with more significant problems. The silence feels deafening, and you wonder if you matter enough to capture His attention. But here's what wisdom declares about God's attention. Proverbs 15 verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. His eyes are everywhere. That means they're on you right now, not just occasionally, not just when you're in crisis, but constantly. He's keeping watch, which means He's actively looking out for you, actively paying attention to your needs, actively aware of your struggles. The silence you're experiencing isn't evidence of His absence. It's sometimes the way love works. Just like a parent who watches their child struggle with a challenging task, knowing when to intervene and when to let them grow through the difficulty. His watching isn't passive, it's protective, purposeful, perfectly timed. For you tonight, this means you're never outside His awareness. The struggle you're facing, the need you have, the longing in your heart, He sees it all. His timing isn't your timing, but His love is constant and His attention never wavers. You're afraid of what's coming in the future, worried that you won't have what you need when challenges arise. The uncertainty feels overwhelming, and you wish you could see ahead to know that everything will be okay. Here's God's promise about your future needs. Proverbs 3 verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. He will make your paths straight. This is a promise about your future. Not that it will be easy, not that it will be problem-free, but that it will be straight. The confusing detours, the seemingly pointless difficulties, the paths that seem to lead nowhere, He's working even these into a straight line toward your destination. Your understanding is limited to what you can see right now, but His understanding encompasses your entire journey. The challenges that look like obstacles from your perspective are actually part of the straight path from His perspective. Tonight, this means you can trust the path even when it doesn't make sense. The difficulties you're facing aren't evidence that you're off course. They're part of the straight line He's making toward the future He has prepared for you. You're feeling like you're constantly under attack, Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, the battles feel relentless, and you're exhausted from defending yourself against problems that seem to multiply faster than you can solve them. Here's God's promise about spiritual warfare. Proverbs 21, verse 31. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. Victory belongs to the Lord, not to your strength, not to your strategy, not to your ability to fight well. You can prepare, you can be wise, you can take appropriate action, like making a horse ready for battle. But the ultimate victory in your struggles belongs to someone who cannot lose. This means for your actual battles today, the financial stress that won't resolve, the relationship conflict that keeps escalating, the health issue that won't improve, the addiction that keeps winning, the final outcome isn't determined by your ability to fight perfectly. Victory belongs to the Lord. You're not losing because you're not fighting hard enough. You're not failing because you're not strong enough. The battles that feel so overwhelming to you are already decided in the spiritual realm by the one who has never lost a war. Tonight, you can rest from the exhaustion of trying to win battles that were never yours to win. You can trust the victory to the one who specializes in impossible situations and delights in turning defeats into triumphs. You're afraid that you've waited too long, that opportunities have passed you by, that your time for breakthrough has expired. The regret of missed chances and delayed action is weighing heavily on your heart. But listen to this promise about timing. Proverbs 20, verse 24. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? Your steps are being directed, past, present, and future. The opportunities you think you missed, the timing that seemed wrong, the delays that felt like failures. All of these are part of directed steps you cannot fully understand from your limited perspective. What looks like being late might actually be arriving precisely on time. What feels like missed opportunity might be protection from something that would have harmed you. What seems like delay might be preparation for something better than what you originally wanted. For your actual regrets tonight, the job you didn't take, the relationship you didn't pursue, the risk you didn't take, the change you didn't make. These perceived failures might be directed steps towards something you cannot yet imagine. Your way is more complex and beautiful than you can understand from where you sit right now. You can release the burden of perfect timing because your steps are being directed by someone who sees the entire journey from beginning to end. Your part is to be faithful in each moment. His part is to weave those moments into a story more beautiful than you could plan. You're feeling like your prayers aren't working, like God isn't responding to your desperate requests for help. The silence feels deafening, and you're wondering if you're praying wrong or if He's simply not listening. Here's what God promises about prayer. Proverbs 15, verse 29. The Lord is far from the wicked, but He hears the prayer of the righteous. He hears the prayer of the righteous. And righteousness isn't about being perfect. It's about being in right relationship with Him through faith. Every sincere prayer you've prayed, every desperate cry for help, every whispered plea for guidance, He has heard them all. Hearing doesn't always mean immediately answering in the way you expect. Sometimes He hears your prayer for healing and responds with strength to endure. Sometimes He hears your prayer for change and responds with peace in the current situation. Sometimes He hears your prayer for provision and responds with contentment with what you already have. The silence you're experiencing isn't evidence that He's not listening. It's evidence that His ways of answering are higher and more complex than your ways of asking. Your prayers are being heard, processed, and responded to in ways that consider not just what you want, but what you actually need. Tonight, you can pray with confidence, knowing that every word is heard by the one who loves you enough to answer in ways that are best for you, even when those answers look different than what you requested. You're carrying shame about your past, feeling like your history disqualifies you from receiving God's best. The mistakes you've made, the opportunities you've wasted, the people you've hurt, these feel like permanent stains that block His blessings from reaching you. But here's what God promises about redemption. Proverbs 24 verse 16. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. 7 times, complete failure in biblical language. And still the righteous rise again. Your past doesn't disqualify you. It's part of the story of your rising. Every time you've fallen and gotten back up, you've demonstrated righteousness. Every time you've failed and tried again, you've walked in wisdom. For your actual shame tonight, the marriage that failed, the career that derailed, the addiction you're fighting, the relationship you damaged, none of these disqualify you from God's best. They're chapters in your story of rising again, evidence of your resilience, proof of your refusal to stay down. Your past mistakes don't determine your future potential. Your fallen moments don't define your destiny. Your broken places don't disqualify you from blessing. They often become the places where God's grace shines brightest. I know it's hard to have faith right now. When you're in this much pain, when nothing makes sense, when God feels distant, believing feels almost impossible, doesn't it? The doubt feels overwhelming, and you're wondering if faith is even worth holding on to. But listen to what Solomon learned about faith and doubt. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Do you hear what this doesn't say? It doesn't say, understand everything and then trust. It doesn't say, figure it all out and then have faith. It says trust even when, especially when, your understanding fails. Faith isn't the absence of questions. It's the choice to trust despite the questions. Your doubt doesn't disqualify you from faith. Your questions don't make you a bad believer. Even Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, had to choose trust over understanding. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. Tonight, you don't have to understand everything to take one small step of trust. You don't have to have perfect faith, just enough faith to keep breathing, keep hoping, keep believing that there's more to your story than what you can see right now. Maybe you're feeling like your faith is too weak, too small to matter. You look at others who seem so confident in their beliefs, and you feel inadequate by comparison. Your faith feels fragile, like it might break under the weight of your circumstances. Here's what wisdom says about small faith. Proverbs 14 verse 23. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Faith isn't just talk, it's work. And all hard work brings profit. That struggle you're feeling, that effort it takes to believe when everything inside you wants to doubt, that's not weakness. That's work. That's faith in action. That's profit in the making. The person who seems to have effortless faith probably fought battles you never saw. Their confident belief was forged in the same furnace of doubt and struggle you're in right now. What looks like natural faith is usually faith that's been worked out through difficulty. Your small, struggling faith is more valuable than confident words without substance. The fact that you're here tonight, reaching for something bigger than your pain, that's faith working. That's your spiritual profit accumulating, even when you can't feel it. You're wondering if God is really good when your life feels so hard. The suffering seems senseless. The pain seems purposeless. And you're questioning whether a good God would allow such difficulty in your life. Solomon wrestled with these same questions. Proverbs 16 verse 4. The Lord works out everything to its proper end, even the wicked, for a day of disaster. Everything to its proper end, that includes your suffering. This doesn't mean God causes bad things to happen, but it does mean He works through everything, even the painful things, even the senseless things, even the things that feel like destruction, toward a proper end. Your pain has purpose, even when you can't see it. Your struggle is being worked into something meaningful, even when it feels meaningless. The end isn't here yet, so you can't judge the story by the current chapter. This requires a different kind of faith. Faith that believes in the proper end, even when the present moment feels wrong. Faith that trusts God's goodness, even when life doesn't feel good. Faith that holds on to hope, even when hope feels foolish. Your faith doesn't have to be perfect tonight. It just has to be present. Present enough to consider the possibility that your current suffering is being worked toward a proper end you cannot yet imagine. Perhaps you're struggling to pray because you're not sure your prayers matter. You've been asking for things that haven't happened, praying for changes that haven't come, and you're wondering if God is even listening. Here's what Solomon discovered about prayer and faith. Proverbs 15 verse 8. The Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but the prayer of the upright pleases him. Your prayers please him. Not just the eloquent ones, not just the confident ones, not just the ones that sound spiritual enough. The honest ones, the desperate ones, the confused ones, the angry ones. If they're coming from an upright heart, they please him. An upright heart isn't a perfect heart. It's a sincere heart. A heart that's honestly seeking him even in the midst of doubt. A heart that keeps reaching toward heaven even when heaven feels silent. You're wrestling with faith, your honest questions, your desperate pleas. These don't displease God, they please him. The fact that you're still praying, still seeking, still hoping for connection with him, this is evidence of an upright heart. This is evidence of faith that's stronger than you think it is. Tonight, you can pray imperfectly and know that your prayers are heard. You can bring your doubt and your desperation and know that these please the heart of God more than polished pretense. You're afraid that if you really surrender everything to God, he'll ask you to give up things you love or lead you places you don't want to go. The idea of complete trust feels terrifying because you're not sure you can trust his plans for your life. Solomon learned something beautiful about surrender. Proverbs 16 verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Did you notice that? When you commit your ways to him, he establishes your plans. Not just his plans for you, but your plans. He doesn't override your heart's desires. He works through them. He doesn't ignore your dreams. He establishes them. Surrender isn't about giving up everything you care about. It's about trusting the one who cares about what you care about. The dreams in your heart, the longings you're afraid to voice, the hopes you're scared to hold, these matter to him because you matter to him. When you commit your ways to him, you're not losing control. You're gaining the partnership of someone who has the power to establish what you cannot accomplish on your own. Faith becomes not about giving up your desires, but about trusting him with your desires. Tonight, you can take one small step of surrender, knowing that your heart's true longings are safe in his hands. Trusting him doesn't mean losing yourself. It means finding yourself in partnership with infinite love. Maybe you're feeling like everyone else seems to have their faith figured out while you're still struggling with basic questions. You wonder if you're behind where you should be spiritually, if you're failing at this faith thing. But here's what wisdom teaches about spiritual growth. Proverbs 27 verse 17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Iron sharpens iron through friction, through pressure, through the grinding together of hard surfaces. This isn't gentle polishing, this is the rough work of sharpening. And that's exactly what's happening in your faith right now. The friction you're feeling, the pressure of doubt against belief, the grinding together of questions and trust. This isn't evidence that your faith is breaking, it's evidence that it's being sharpened. Every person who has strong faith has been through this sharpening process. The people who seem to have it all figured out have simply been through the sharpening you're experiencing now. Their confidence was forged in the same fire of questions and struggle that feels so uncomfortable to you. Your faith is being strengthened by the very doubts that make you feel weak. The questions that feel like threats to your belief are actually sharpening it into something stronger, clearer, more real. You can embrace the sharpening process instead of fighting it. You can see your struggles as strengthening instead of weakening. You can trust that the iron of your faith is being refined into something beautiful and strong. Your faith doesn't need to be perfect to be real. It doesn't need to be confident to be valuable. It doesn't need to be complete to be enough for tonight. What matters is that despite everything, despite the pain and the questions and the doubt, you're still here. You're still reaching. You're still believing that there's something worth hoping for. That reaching, that hoping, that tiny flame of faith that refuses to be extinguished by your circumstances. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything God needs to work with in your life. Rest in that tonight. Rest in the truth that your small, struggling, imperfect faith is precious beyond measure to the one who sees your heart. Maybe you're feeling like faith should make life easier, but instead it seems to make things more complicated. You thought believing would solve your problems, but sometimes it feels like faith has created new ones. Disappointment when prayers aren't answered the way you hoped, confusion when God's ways don't make sense, isolation when other believers seem to have it all figured out. Solomon understood this tension. Proverbs 3 verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Faith doesn't eliminate understanding. It invites you to trust beyond understanding. The confusion you feel isn't evidence that your faith is failing. It's evidence that your faith is being stretched beyond the limits of your comprehension. And that stretching is exactly what's supposed to happen. When faith becomes too easy, when belief requires no trust, when following God demands no surrender of control, that's not mature faith. That's simply agreement with ideas that make sense to you. Real faith begins where understanding ends. The complications that faith has introduced into your life might not be obstacles to overcome, but invitations to go deeper. The questions that believing has raised might not be problems to solve, but mysteries to embrace. The struggle to trust when you can't understand might be the very place where your faith is being refined into something pure and strong. Tonight, you can stop expecting faith to make everything simple and start appreciating how it's making you deeper, stronger, more dependent on grace. You're battling doubt about God's goodness because of the suffering you've experienced or witnessed. If he's really good and really powerful, why does so much pain exist? Why do innocent people suffer? Why do prayers for healing go unanswered? The philosophical questions are making it hard to trust his heart. Here's what wisdom offers about suffering and goodness. Proverbs 20 verse 24. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? Even the painful steps, even the steps through suffering, even the steps that lead through loss, these too are directed by the Lord. This doesn't mean he causes all pain, but it does mean he works through all circumstances, even the ones that feel purposeless. How can anyone understand their own way? This question isn't meant to shut down your doubts, but to acknowledge the complexity of existence that goes beyond human comprehension. The goodness of God isn't contradicted by the presence of suffering. It's demonstrated in his ability to work through suffering toward purposes that transcend immediate understanding. Your faith doesn't have to answer every philosophical question about pain and evil. It only has to trust that the one who allows mysteries is big enough to work through them. Sometimes the most honest faith is the one that says, I don't understand, but I still believe in your goodness. The suffering that has shaken your faith in God's Goodness might become the very place where you discover aspects of His love that you could never have known in easier circumstances. Perhaps you're struggling with faith because you feel like you should be farther along spiritually than you are. You've been believing for a while now, but you still wrestle with the same doubts, still struggle with the same sins, still feel confused about the same questions. Listen to this truth about spiritual growth. Proverbs 4 verse 18. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Like the morning sun, that means gradual, not instant. The sun doesn't suddenly appear in full brightness. It slowly, steadily increases in intensity from dawn until noon. Your faith is following the same pattern: gradual brightening, steady growth, incremental progress toward full light. You're not behind schedule in your spiritual journey because there is no universal timeline for faith development. Some people's dawn starts earlier, some later. Some have clearer mornings, others more cloudy. But all who are on the path of the righteous are moving toward the same full light of day. The struggles you're still having with doubt, sin, and confusion aren't evidence that your faith isn't real. They're evidence that you're human. The fact that you're troubled by these struggles shows that your heart is being sensitized to things that matter to God. That sensitivity is itself a sign of spiritual growth. Your faith is brighter today than it was yesterday, even if you can't see the difference. Just like you can't notice the sun getting brighter moment by moment, but you can see the difference between dawn and noon when you compare them across time. You might be feeling like other people's faith looks so much more confident than yours. Their prayers sound more eloquent, their belief seems more certain, their spiritual life appears more mature. The comparison is making you feel inadequate. But wisdom offers a different perspective. Proverbs 14 verse 10. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. Each heart knows its own struggle, and that includes its own faith struggle. The person whose faith looks so confident to you has battles you cannot see, doubts they don't voice, questions they wrestle with in private. The eloquent prayers they offer in public might come from hours of speechless struggle in private. No one else can share your joy, which means the intimate experiences of God's presence, peace, and love that you've had are unique to your relationship with Him. The moments when faith has felt real to you, when His presence has been tangible, when His love has broken through your doubt, these are treasures that belong specifically to you. Your faith journey is as unique as your fingerprint. The ways God reveals Himself to you, the particular struggles He allows in your life, the specific growth He's working in your heart, all of this is custom designed for your relationship with Him. Tonight, you can stop comparing your inside struggles with other people's outside appearances. You can stop measuring your faith by someone else's expression of belief. You can rest in the truth that your faith, however small or struggling it feels, is perfectly suited to who you are and who God is making you to become. Your mind has been racing all day, hasn't it? Jumping from one worry to the next, replaying conversations, rehearsing tomorrow's challenges. Even now, trying to rest, the thoughts keep coming like waves you can't stop. Solomon understood this restlessness. Proverbs 4 verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard your heart, not your mind, but your heart. The peace you're seeking doesn't come from controlling every thought, but from protecting the wellspring of your emotions, your core, your center. Tonight, you can begin to guard your heart by choosing what you allow to flow through it. Let the wisdom of these ancient words flow through your heart instead of the anxious thoughts that have been circulating all day. Let peace flow from the guarded place of your heart into your restless mind. Feel your breathing naturally slow as your heart finds its protected place. The racing thoughts don't have to stop completely. They can just become background noise as something deeper takes precedence, the gentle flow of peace from a guarded heart. Maybe your body is holding tension from the stress of the day. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw is clenched, your breathing is shallow. The physical weight of worry has settled into your muscles. Listen to this wisdom about rest. Proverbs 3 verse 24. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. You will not be afraid. This is written for you tonight, for this exact moment when you're lying down, trying to find peace. The fear that's been gripping your chest, the anxiety that's been stealing your rest. It doesn't have to dominate this moment. Feel your body against the surface supporting you. Notice how you're being held, how you can let your weight be carried. Your sleep can be sweet even after a difficult day. Your rest can be peaceful even in the midst of uncertain times. Let your shoulders drop as you breathe out. Release the tension in your jaw. Allow your breathing to deepen naturally as your body remembers how to rest. Perhaps your heart is troubled tonight, stirred up by conflict or disappointment. The emotional turbulence feels overwhelming, and you wonder how you can find peace when your heart is in such turmoil. Here's what Solomon learned about troubled hearts. Proverbs 14 verse 13. Even in laughter the heart may ache, and rejoicing may end in grief. Your heart is allowed to ache. Even in moments that should be happy, even when everything looks fine from the outside, your heart is allowed to feel the deeper currents of sadness or longing. This isn't failure. This is the complex beauty of being human. But aching doesn't have to mean unrest. Grief doesn't have to steal your sleep. You can be sad and still rest. You can carry pain and still find peace in this moment. Breathe into the ache in your heart. Don't fight it, just breathe around it. Let it be there while something larger holds it, the peaceful presence of wisdom that understands your pain and offers rest despite it. Your mind might be spinning with all the things you need to do tomorrow, all the problems you need to solve, all the conversations you need to have. The weight of responsibility feels crushing, and you're not sure how you'll manage it all. Listen to this gentle reminder. Proverbs 16 verse 9. In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Tomorrow's steps are not yours to establish tonight. Your job is to plan with wisdom, but someone else's job is to establish the actual path. You can release the burden of controlling tomorrow's outcomes and rest in tonight's peace. Feel yourself sinking deeper into rest as you let go of tomorrow's responsibilities. They will be there when you wake, but right now, they can wait. Right now, your only job is to receive the rest your soul needs. The fear of the future may be keeping you awake. Unknown challenges, uncertain outcomes, the possibility of loss or failure. These worries are stealing your peace and making sleep feel impossible. But wisdom offers this comfort. Proverbs 31 verse 25. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. You can laugh at the days to come, not because nothing difficult will happen, but because you're clothed with strength you cannot see and dignity that cannot be taken from you. The future doesn't have to be certain for you to be secure. Imagine yourself clothed with invisible strength. Feel that strength surrounding you like a warm cloak as you rest. The uncertain future cannot disturb your present peace. You are held by something stronger than your circumstances. Perhaps you're struggling with feelings of inadequacy, wondering if you're enough for the life you're living. The inner critic has been loud today, and self-doubt is making rest difficult. Here's what wisdom declares about your worth. Proverbs 12 verse 4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful woman is like decay in his bones. Noble character. This isn't about perfection, but about the steady faithfulness of someone who keeps showing up, keeps trying, keeps loving, even when it's hard. You have been showing up for life, even on the difficult days. That's noble character in action. Feel the weight of that truth settling into your heart. You are more than enough. Your faithful presence in the lives around you matters more than you know. Rest in your inherent worth. The loneliness you've been feeling might be making sleep feel empty instead of restorative. The silence feels heavy rather than peaceful, and you long for connection that feels absent. Solomon knew about loneliness too. Proverbs 18 verse 24. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You have a friend who sticks closer than family. Even in this quiet moment when human companionship feels distant, you're not alone. There's a presence here that never leaves, never grows tired of your company, never withdraws love. Feel that presence now, not with your eyes but with your heart, the one who sees you completely and loves what he sees. You can rest in that love tonight. You can sleep in that presence. As your breathing continues to slow and deepen, let these final words from wisdom settle into your spirit like a gentle blanket. Proverbs 3 verse 25 through 26. Have no fear of sudden disaster or of the ruin that overtakes the wicked, for the Lord will be at your side and will keep your foot from being snared. No fear. He will be at your side. Your foot will be kept from being snared. You are safe tonight. Not because nothing difficult will ever happen, but because you're not walking through life alone. Every step you take tomorrow, He'll be there. Every challenge you face, He'll be there. Every joy you experience, He'll be there. Let your eyes grow heavy with the weight of this promise. Feel your body relaxing completely as you rest in this truth. You are watched over. You are cared for. You are loved. As sleep begins to pull you gently into its embrace, carry these words with you. Proverbs 4 verse 8. Cherish her, and she will exalt you. Embrace her, and she will honor you. Wisdom has been speaking to you tonight. Embrace these words as you drift towards sleep. Let them honor your rest with peace. Let them exalt your spirit with hope. Your breathing is slow and steady now. Your heart is quiet. Your mind is still. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges and its own grace. But tonight you can rest. The wisdom of ages is watching over your sleep. The God of peace is guarding your rest. You can let go completely now. You are held. You are loved. You can rest now. Rest. Sleep in the gentle wisdom of the one who never slumbers, who is watching over you even now. As you drift peacefully into restorative sleep, carried by the timeless words of truth that have comforted hearts for thousands of years, you are safe. You are loved. You can rest. Let me share one final word from Solomon as you settle into deeper rest. Proverbs 8 verse 34 through 35. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord. You have been listening tonight to wisdom that has echoed through thousands of years. You have been watching at the doors of understanding, waiting to receive what your soul needs. And in this listening, in this watching, in this waiting, you have found life. You have received favor, not because you earned it, but because you positioned yourself to receive it. Feel that favor settling over you like a warm blanket as you drift towards sleep. Feel the life that these words have spoken into your weary spirit. You are blessed because you have listened. You are blessed because you have received. Your breathing is becoming deeper and more rhythmic now. Your body is releasing the last bits of tension it was holding. Your mind is quieting as these ancient truths do their gentle work in your heart. Proverbs 31 verse 26. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. Tonight, wisdom has spoken over you. Faithful instruction has been placed in your heart like seeds in good soil. As you sleep, these seeds will grow. As you rest, this wisdom will take root. As you dream, this instruction will shape your spirit. You don't have to hold on to these words with effort. They will hold on to you. You don't have to remember every detail. The essence will remain in your heart. You don't have to work to apply what you've heard. It will work in you as you rest. The God who inspired these proverbs thousands of years ago is the same God who is with you tonight. The wisdom that comforted ancient hearts in ancient times is comforting your heart in this moment. The peace that settled over troubled souls in generations past is settling over your troubled soul right now. You are connected to a great cloud of witnesses, all those who have found comfort in these same words, all those who have been strengthened by these same promises, all those who have fallen asleep to these same truths. You are not alone in your need for peace. You are not the first to need this comfort, and the comfort that was sufficient for them is sufficient for you. Let your eyelids grow heavy with the weight of this ancient peace. Let your body sink deeper into rest as you're held by eternal love. Let your spirit settle into the quiet confidence that wisdom brings. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges and its own grace. But tonight belongs to rest. Tonight belongs to peace. Tonight belongs to the gentle wisdom that watches over your sleep. Sleep well, beloved soul. Rest in the shelter of the Most High. Dream in the shadow of the Almighty. You are held. You are loved. You can rest now. Rest